PodcastEatWrestling.com. I'm Derek Sabato here for the next edition of The Lowdown with D'Lo Brown. D'Lo, how you doing today?
Derek, man, I'm doing great. It's my favorite time of the year. Football season is here. There's a crisp of autumn in the air. It doesn't get any better than this. Now let's talk some wrestling. Let's get ready to go.
Yes, and we will, for those football fans out there, we may touch on football by the end of this episode at the end of it. But I want to thank everyone, first off, for joining us here on PodcastEatWrestling.com and also on Twitter. We will be able to see your comments, drop your comments. If you have questions, you have to join the chat at PodcastEatWrestling.com. Super chats, go to the front of the line. But D'Lo, we have a big conversation to have today, something we've never discussed before. You've never actually discussed before with anyone. The night of TNA Victory Road 2011, you're the agent for the infamous Jeff Hardy Sting TNA title main event, live on pay-per-view. But before we get to it, what is your relationship like with Jeff in 2011 in TNA?
Tremendous, because once again, I know Jeff for 10 years prior to that. So we were very cool, and I'm just removed from being in ring. So I'm still one of the boys. So our relationship was spot on, really good.
You worked with him many times during your run in the WWF. How did you see Jeff evolve, both as a wrestler and as a person?
First, on the wrestling side, like everyone else, you saw him come out there as the Hardy Boys with the loud looking pants and the flair, the leggings, and you thought, oh, this kid's, there's something there. He can bump around. He's a great bumper. And then to watch him evolve when they first got put with Michael Hayes, and Matt and Jeff got put with Michael Hayes, and they changed from the loud colors to the all dark look and became more serious. And that's when Jeff's personality started to come out, and you could see that there was this magnetic feel to him, like something just drew your attention to him. Whenever he got in the ring, your eyes went to him, and it was cool watching that. You could see there was something there. Did anybody know he'd become what he is now, still 25 years later, still going out there and doing it? I don't even think he could say he saw that, but it was cool to be there to watch it grow.
There was a time in 2007, 2008 where he can lay claim to being the biggest babyface in the WWF.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to me to think back as a guy who was a tag team guy, came up with his brother, Hardys, Dudleys, Edge and Christian, TLC. We all know that story. But there was a time where he was the top babyface in the WWF. And then he decided, I'm good. I'm going to go home. I'm going to relax. And eventually he makes his way to TNA. Mm-hmm. How did you see Jeff's maturity, progression from the time he was getting into TNA to 2011?
Jeff was a different guy because he understood what he was in the context of what wrestling was. You could see he understood the enormity of what he had become and what he was. And he took that, and I wonder if that, I don't know if that weighed on him. I don't know if that added to the pressure of, other demons that he fell into. But, he understood what he was in the context of wrestling and how enormous he was. I mean, there were times in TNA when we would do, meet and greets and autograph sessions, and the meet and greets were at intermission, and we'd have a 15-minute intermission and end up going 30 or 45 minutes because Jeff had a line so long that we actually had to start shifting him till after the show because it was so many people wanted to interact with Jeff Hardy.
When you think about the other person in this match, the icon, Hall of Famer, the franchise of WCW, Sting. Mm-hmm. What's your relationship like with him in 2011 in TNA?
Same thing. Very professional. Sting and I always got along. I was always pretty much the agent for his matches, so we were always talking on a TV basis. We were always there together. So he and I, we understood. I knew how he wanted to work his matches, and I knew what he wanted to do and what he didn't want to do. And I worked within those parameters pretty easily.
How did the relationship of you becoming his personal agent happen? Because we've heard about Arn being John Cena's personal agent. How do you end up being Sting's?
Just being easy to work with, I think, and understanding what Sting and who Sting is, and not pitching ideas that I knew would never fly, and knowing the person he is, which he's one of the most easygoing guys out there. So it's not hard to figure out who Sting is if you just listen and pay attention. He's one of the coolest guys out there. But it was just having good ideas and being easy to work with. It just made it very easy to be in that, become a comfort pillow with each other.
It's got to be tough. You are someone who's done something everywhere, and then you got Sting. He's worked with Flair, Terry Funk, Ricky Steamboat. The list goes on and on. Every top star, Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger, and you're sitting there putting a match together with him. Was there ever that moment of you just sitting there going like, how'd I get here?
Every time I sat down to put a match together with him, I mean, you're looking across at Sting, and I've told him on more than one occasions how good he is and was, and how great he'd go out there, and whether it was in the Sting character or making fun, or when he went to the Joker-esque Sting character, just telling him how amazing his different personas was. Just to sit there and look across from him and giving him ideas. The 9-year-old in me, the 10-year-old in me was like, are you kidding me? I'm sitting here talking to this dude, giving him advice on wrestling when he's forgotten more than I'll ever know.
What is the day like for a TNA pay-per-view for you as an agent in 2011?
You get to the building, typically, I would say between noon and 1, you get to the building and you'll have what's called a production meeting. And it's everyone who's part of the show, whether it's agents, crew, cameramen, directors, we all sit down for a show rundown. And that's when you go, it's being dictated to you of what we need done for the night. Then we go through that group meeting. Then we go to a side meeting where it's the agents meeting, where it's the agents just with the writers of the show going over particulars of the match. From that point, once I have those particulars, I then go to my assigned talent, and we start up a conversation of, here's what we're looking for. Let's throw some ideas together. Now let's go apart from each other. I've got a couple other matches. Let me go talk to them. I'll circle back in an hour. Let's discuss what you guys have put together. And then from that point, now it's about 3:00 in the afternoon. We come back together and we talk over rough ideas. And in some cases, some guys already have matches laid out. And then it's just me listening to what's going on and finding any holes that I can find in their thinking of putting the match together, and or giving some suggestions of how to make things flow a little better. So that's usually about between 3 and 5, and then we go through a final run through of what we want to do, sometimes around 6, depending on when the show is going to go live.
You have to shoot pre-tapes. You have to do, various things during the day. How many matches would you normally get on a TNA pay-per-view to agent? 2 or 3?
2 or 3, depending on the enormity. If it were a main event that had a lot of stuff going on, then it'd be 2. But then if it were lesser matches that required less thinking, and or guys who, let's say a Kevin Nash or a Sting, who knew their stuff, all right, let them off to their own devices. I'll go handle 2 other matches on the undercard and deal with them.
Who would be the one who would assign you as the agent? Was it Bruce Pritchard back then?
It was Bruce Pritchard would assign the agents to the shows after they were put out. Or, I think it was Bruce Pritchard. And then sometimes it'd be Vince Russo, or it was Jeff Jarrett, depending on who was pretty much in charge of creative at that point. They would say, I want to have this agent on this match, or, put this person with this person.
In 2011, Sting versus Jeff Hardy is a big match.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Something that not many people ever thought. And it's a first-time matchup. It is for the TNA title.
Mm-hmm.
When agent designations go out and you've always worked with Sting and you're sitting there and you meet up with them, What's the first part of your conversation with Sting and Jeff? Here's the finish, and what do we need to do to get there? Or is it, what are you guys doing? And this way I can tell the truck.
A little bit of both. It is, here's what I got in production. Here's the story what we're trying to tell tonight. Now, how would you like to go about it? And for something like a Sting, I'll defer to him and go, I will be talking heavily to him. But even, don't get me wrong, I'm still giving that much credo to Jeff as well.
Sure.
But in terms of context of the wrestling business, Sting is the veteran in this dynamic. So here's what we'd like. Here's the finish we're looking for. Give me your thoughts, feedback. Okay, we're good with the finish. Now let's get to the story. How do you want to get there?
How many times do you remember running through the match with Sting and Jeff that day?
2 or 3, and particularly once, probably 20 minutes before the match happened, we ran through it.
So you see Jeff 20 minutes before his music hits.
Yes.
All right, hold on. We're going to get to that point in a second. That's a little bit farther along. No, you know what? Let's stick with that. First off, thank you everyone for joining us. We have 38 people watching us right now on X and YouTube. Guys, hop in the chat. We want to answer your questions. Johnny, we got your question. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But please, super chats at the front of the line. You see Jeff 20 minutes before his music hits.
Yes.
There is no indication, anything that strikes you as odd or anything?
None whatsoever. Our last walk through the match, I remember particularly we were back in Universal Studios. We were right outside Studio 31, I believe it is, and we were standing right by the door, and we were just talking it over. And as an agent, a lot of agents write down notes. I'm of the wrestling thing where I hear the match and it's in my head because I want to know the match as well as they do. So I don't write notes down. I just have it in my head. And we walk right through it. No ifs, ands, or buts, no problems at all. Jeff and Sting went separate ways, and then I went and produced one more match right before. So yeah, we had a nice walkthrough, no big deal. Everything was fine.
In reality, I've been backstage, been on a show. You've worked God knows how many places. Universal Studios and the TNA setup is a different one from many because they have 2 sides of entrances. You have your babyface side on one side, heel on the other. Is that tough as an agent? Is that tough as someone who's got to run back and forth and be in communication with everybody?
No, because at that point I'm stationed at one entrance, and then there's a line of communication, back and forth to the other entrance. So we're always in contact. It's not like I'm running back and forth. I'm in one spot, and then everything works from there.
What spot are you in? Do you remember? Were you heel or babyface?
I can't remember. It's the closest one to the front door, so I think that's babyface. I think heels made the long walk. So I was right by babyface.
You're on the Sting side of things.
Yes.
So
but everyone comes through the same area, and then there's a walkway around to the heel side. So everyone has to start in the same spot.
So the match before Sting and Jeff is Mr. Anderson and Rob Van Dam. And the match before that is AJ Styles and Matt Hardy. Do you remember which one of those matches you ended up agenting?
I want to say it was Mr. Anderson's match.
So you have the match directly before.
Yes. And then as I recall, I remember getting that match together and then turning around, walking back because there was some pre-tapes happening. And this is where I interacted with Jeff for the last time. And this is when I knew there was an issue.
So while you're agenting, and everybody's seen this kind of now with WWE Unreal on Netflix, while you're the agent of the match, you are on headset, you are in Gorilla. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you're communicating with the truck, you're communicating with the producers, timing, and making sure everything is hitting cameras, so on and so forth, and the referee as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So Ken and Rob Van Dam are going home. You know Sting and Jeff is next.
Mm-hmm.
Walk me through the instant when you realize, oh God, what's wrong?
you go back and had that final, okay, is everybody ready? Everything good? And that's when I just had a sense that there was something a little off with Jeff. And I remember coming to the headsets and saying, hey guys, I think we might have an issue. And everyone was like, what? So I kind of ran down what I had a feeling of, and they were like, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. Something feels a little off. And then it's Jeff's music. Jeff goes to the ring, and Eric is there near me. He's right there. So he's right over my shoulder. He's seeing all this, and Eric is making the calls because Eric is in charge of all of production at this point. Eric is the booker.
Eric Bischoff.
Eric Bischoff, yes. He's in charge of everything because I had alerted a few people going, hey, and then Eric and I discussed what the first spot of the match was. So I told him, I was like, if he doesn't get through this, then we have an issue. Then Sting goes out, and I love Jeff, and this is not going to be a beatdown session or a kill on Jeff, and it's just, it is what it is, and Jeff will tell you he was in a bad place at that point, but just from the opening seconds of it, you could tell something was amiss.
So Jeff's music hits. It takes forever for him to go down the ramp. Yeah. When you do, he makes eye contact with the camera, and you can tell something's not right. Sting's music hits, and as Sting's music hits, and it's important to remember this, Eric is a heel. Eric is the guy leading the top heel group. He's on Jeff's side. And as Sting is walking down, the camera's shooting Jeff, and Jeff is not of sound mind and body, let's say.
Yeah, the first spot of the match was supposed to be a jump start. And so that's when Jeff tries to give out the t-shirt in the middle of the jump start. And that's when we all knew.
So Eric comes out, cuts a promo, but on WWE recently, they released a documentary regarding this. And you see Eric go out and shake everyone's hand and try to get a feel for Jeff and tell Jeff, we're going to cut it short and we're going to go home quickly. Yeah,
Eric is calling an audible in the ring, and he's kind of delivering messages back and forth to Sting and to Jeff to try to salvage what we got going on.
What's going on backstage as this unfolds?
For me, I'm talking with Hebner, and I'm back and forth just talking with Hebner, going, hey, this is plan A, plan B, or plan C. So let's be alert for whatever we need. And then I remember at some point telling Hebner, I was like, when Sting puts his shoulders to the mat, I don't care whatever you do. I don't care if he kicks out at 1, you count 3. We just had to get through. We had to get through it.
You're telling this to Brian Hebner, who's in the ring with the headphones. Yes. Did TNA have microphones for the referees?
No, it was one-way communication. So it was just in his ear. And then this is where I don't go into too much of the sausage, but we have signals where I know he's acknowledging what I'm saying. There's a few of them. And each referee, there's standard ones, and each referee has particularly Brian and I, we are like, he and I are buds. So we have sometimes there's nonverbal communication between us where I know. And if you know Hebner, he's very expressive with his face. So we have a few signals. So
Jeff's t-shirt, he's messing around. You can tell Sting is not in a good mood at this point in time.
Yes. Yeah.
Does Sting know Jeff's off before Jeff walks down the ramp?
Sting is aware that Jeff is not 100%. It would not be in anyone's best interest to let Sting walk out there blind to that. So it was telling him what's going on, and Sting is like, okay. And as long as he's aware of it, he can then try to handle it his best once he gets to the ring.
When we go to the finish, Sting grabs Jeff, hits him with the Scorpion Death Drop. 1, 2, and Jeff kicks out. But as you instructed to Brian, he counts 3.
Count 3, yes.
When that bell rings, in your mind, what's next?
the storm is about to hit. When everyone comes back, I know this is going to be a lot going to happen in a few minutes, and a lot I know we're going to be moved away and whisked into a room, and everyone's part of this is going to be, what did you know? What's going on? Tell me. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. So one, it's relief that no one got hurt. B, it's relief that it's over. C, it's disappointment because that was such a built-up main event, and to really deliver an underwhelming main event was disheartening. And then it was, let's get to the root of this issue.
You got Mike Tenay on commentary, you have Taz on commentary. Who's instructing them? Who's on? I'm sorry, let me ask that a different way. Who's in their ear letting them know, hey, this might be quick? Is it you or is it somebody else?
That's the truck. That is in the truck. So that's out of my hands. Unlike WWE, I have no line of communication with the announcers. That's all handled from the truck and who's ever running the truck.
Is Jeff Jarrett at this show?
If I remember correctly, yes. But it all blend. It's all a blur at some point, so don't quote me on it. But yeah, I believe he was.
Jeff has been in the business forever, grew up in it. You've been in the business forever. Sting has done it all.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff has been on top.
Yes.
You have a lot of people backstage that have done a lot of things in this business.
Mm-hmm.
At this moment in time, did anything register to you that nothing like this had ever happened before?
You're not thinking that until after the fact. But in postscript, and when you're thinking about it afterwards, you're like, whoa, this is unknown territory. This is nothing like this has ever been happened. So yeah, you're like, oh, and it's not like something, not at first you want to be part of. This is not something you want to hold your hat on and go, yeah, I was there. That's probably why I never even really talked about it until now, because it was one of those nights, let's just get rid of it, get past it, and forget it, because it was a dark spot for everybody.
Is there a concern for Jeff? Is he at the top of the list for things we need to take a look at before we worry about feelings and the product we presented? We need to make sure Jeff's okay.
That is first and foremost. That is without a doubt. First and foremost is Jeff's well-being and his health. Let's deal with that first. Nothing else matters. No one got hurt, so now let's move to the next thing. Jeff and his well-being.
Is there any talk as Sting walks to the back and the crowd chants bullshit and he goes, I agree, in that infamous clip of, do we put something else out there? Do we need to end the show this way? Is anyone having that line of communication, or is it, let's get the hell out of here and let's get everybody backstage and let's start figuring this out?
That would be above my pay grade. I'm not part of that communication. If anyone say, let's add something else, I just know that when the 1, 2, 3 happened, for my part, the show is over. And now let's deal with the aftermath on the other side of the curtain.
What is the aftermath on the other side of the curtain?
That's when Terry Taylor's there, Dixie Carter's there, and we're gathered around, and Sting is obviously upset. But to Sting's credit, he never got angry, never yelled, never screamed. It was more of a, let's make sure Jeff is good. And then Jeff is removed. I'm separated. I'm asked questions, and then they handle Jeff at a different location.
Who sits down with you? Is it Terry Taylor?
This Terry Taylor, yeah. He wants a debrief from me because he's going to be asked these same questions.
Sure. Do you see Bruce? Do you see Eric afterwards? Do you know what their reaction was?
I saw Eric. Eric was a little upset. Bruce was upset, but once again, it's being professional and moved to how do we figure what is going on here? That's all that matters. Being angry and all that doesn't do anything. You've got to figure out what's going on and how to fix it.
Matt is on this show, Jeff's brother.
Yes.
Can you see him at any point in this?
Yeah, Matt is back there as well.
Is Matt upset, angry, or concerned?
He's being a brother and he's concerned. He's trying to figure out what's going on.
Do you sit down with Sting afterwards and talk with him about it, or is it we need to just keep it moving and we're on the next TV?
I think we had a small interaction with just what I thought, what he thought, and that was kind of it. And I just made sure, are you okay? Everything good? But it wasn't a sit down and go, hey, man, can you believe this?
Right.
It wasn't that. It was just more of a, what happened and just a recounting of what happened in that moment.
The question I wanted to get to from Johnny is, what did the boys think backstage? Now, it's the main event. There's a chance that there's not everybody still left.
Mm-hmm.
But who's coming up?
A lot of the boys were gone. And, this part is a blur because I was only focused on Jeff. I wasn't focused on what was going on elsewhere. Really wasn't paying attention to if there was a collection of the boys hanging around watching. I mean, I'm assuming there were some because a lot of boys watched the monitor and watched the show. But at this point, my focus wasn't on who's around and who's watching. It's more of, let's just go over what happened.
Yeah. Do you remember anyone speaking up after the fact that they were not happy with it? Was there a locker room meeting? Walk me through, or was it at the hotel afterwards with all the boys?
That was more likely at the hotel with the boys, and that's one of those boys only kind of thing. And even though I'm just removed from being in the ring, I'm still considered office.
Sure.
So that's something the boys would the locker room police itself, and that's something the boys would handle on their own.
What does it mean to you when you look back at it that one of the most infamous moments no one ever knew you were a part of? And were you okay with that up until now?
I was okay with that. I never like telling people what matches I agent because I don't believe that I'm part of that spotlight. I don't like it when agents are put out there. I don't think it's a necessary thing. I mean, it's the talent in the ring that are the stars. No one focuses on the cameraman or the director. So that's why I never go out there and put it out there that I was the agent for this match. So I'm glad that there was, I don't think I've talked about it this long, and I'm glad people didn't know I was the agent of that match.
The reason for this conversation that you're seeing here on the lowdown is because I asked D'Lo if he worked or was at the show.
Mm-hmm.
I told anyone this, but I was the agent. I said, well, we need to talk about this. One of the things we discussed in having this conversation was this is not about what happened with Jeff or his circumstances or whatever the case may be as to what happened to him, but it was what happened surrounding him that day. And everyone fights demons, and we all know that. And Jeff obviously it's 2025, and he's still kicking ass in the wrestling ring. So
yes,
at the end of the day, no one got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It's a moment. It's not a problem for him. But if you take a look back at his interviews, he's never shied away from it. And I think that deserves some kudos and credits for not running from that issue.
And that goes to the person that Jeff is, because it was a dark moment in his past, and it's not like he shies away from it. If you ask him about it, he'll tell you about it. In interviews, like you said, he's talked about it, discussed it, and he wears it out there because it's not what defines him as an individual. It's just part of what he did in his past. And every one of us has that moment where we slipped or did something that if we let it, hang over our heads for the rest of our lives, we'd have that dark cloud. So to him, as his credit and who he is, he took it, he embraced it, he learned from it, and he moved on. And that's the important part is, as you put out there, no one got hurt. Yes, we underdelivered as pay-per-view, but in the grand scheme of things, that was the least of my worries, because as a human, the human grew from that moment.
Did you and Jeff ever have a sit down afterwards to discuss it, or were you cool just keep it moving?
We might have talked about it in passing, but it wasn't a, oh my God, what did you do? It was more of a, I'm glad you dealt with this, and now let's go make some more magic. Now let's go to the next match. Let's move forward.
who do you remember having the loudest, largest reaction to what was going on? Was it a backstage person? Was it Dixie Carter? Does that ring out in your mind?
No, I was really just focused on what was going in the ring. When I'm in that moment, the only thing that matters to me is what's right in front of me on the monitor, because that's my world. So I'm not hearing any of the background chatter. I'm interacting with the truck and looking at the ring. So I don't remember anyone being very vocal, but that's not to say that they weren't. I wasn't paying attention.
Did anyone besides Terry Taylor discuss it with you from TNA?
I think I had a quick little download with Dixie on it, but nothing major.
What was she like in that conversation? Because there have been various things said about her and her relationship with some of the locker room. What was yours like with her?
Really cool. I'll put it out there. A lot of people have said a lot of negative things about Dixie. I love her to death. Love her to death. She's always been sweet and kind to me. Her entire family been sweet and kind, from her mom, who just passed, her father. Her children would run around and buzz all over the place. So I've always had a really good relationship with her. And she just came off as concerned. Part of it motherly like, because she was just worried about one of her guys. I didn't see her angry or upset. She was more concerned.
What is the thing that stands out the most to you from that night, that day? Is it the moment when you realized Jeff was maybe not of right mind, or was something else that stands out the most to you?
The moment I realized that Jeff wasn't of right mind, and it's something I will, as an agent, I'll never let happen again. And I think I should have spoke up more about, hey, maybe we shouldn't let this go on. But it was 2 minutes till the music was hitting. There's not much to do there. I think me, agent now, years later, would take a more authoritative spot on this and going, hey, wait a minute, we can't allow this to happen.
That was my next question: is if there was anything you could change about it, what would you change?
I would have put the brakes on everything and not allowed it to happen, and say I would have rather delivered no main event and saved everyone's face and reputation than to let that go out there again.
What was something? Was there a change in policy moving forward in TNA after this to help to prevent it, or was it more of a we're going to have to hold everyone's hand for a little bit until we get through this?
Just we're going to have to hold everybody's hand. Change of policy is, there's no change of policy. You're not supposed to go to the ring in a debilitated state in any manner. So that's not a change of policy. It's just the way business is always done. So it was more so, let's just be more mindful of what's going on.
We have a couple questions. Tyler Cannon asked you, what was Sting's reaction? We covered that already. Nate McLeod, thank you for joining us. We are the nation of domination. Yes, we are. James Weston, well, what happened to a person, a human being, and how it affected everyone around him isn't cool, but I'm enjoying hearing the behind-the-scenes processes. James, this is what we're here to deliver here on the Lowdown with D'Lo Brown. D'Lo's extensive wrestling knowledge and extensive time in this business provides us the ability to tell you everything from a different angle. And this is an angle that has never been discussed before here regarding the situation. So we want to thank everyone who has joined us for discussing this Sting and Jeff Hardy incident. My last question for you is, did you get any heat from this? Was there any fallback or blowback on you out of this?
No, none whatsoever. I mean, at the end of the day, each talent is a grown-ass man, and they're responsible for their actions, and I can't control what another man does. I can only give him direction and let him go out there and do his work. So there's no heat on me. From the office standpoint, more heat on myself for allowing it to happen, which I've talked about, but nothing from the office standpoint, no.
One of the more astounding things that have happened in professional wrestling ring in the last couple of weeks is something that happened while we were on our little break. Rampage Jackson's son and Psycho Sid, it's It's not a pretty sight. It's not a good look for wrestling.
Yeah.
What do you think of everything that went down with Rampage Jackson's son?
And here's the thing: is two things can be true at the same time. While Stu got hurt and taken advantage of in the ring, I have never greeted anybody with a camera and hit him upside the head with a beer can and not know if they were a work or not without having a discussion. Let me say, I've never hit anybody with anything without talking to them first. So let's just start there. Secondly, how Raj handled it was idiotic on every level. And there were so many red flags about this. He should have never been allowed backstage with a camera. He should have never been allowed to go into the arena with the camera, and he should never been allowed to be part of a match after there was that kind of confrontation backstage, particularly with a non-trained worker. So I think there's plenty of fault to be handed out all around. And should Stu have hit him with a can? No. Should Raj have punched him in the face 22 times? Hell no. So there's a lot of fault there, and we'll find out probably in weeks to come. There's a lot of fault to be given out to a lot of people. I would have never allowed that to happen. I don't think under my watch. There's too many red flags there. You can't let that happen.
Swerve Strickland tweeted something that I thought was interesting. Is we have to go back to gatekeeping wrestling. Mm-hmm. I was trained in this business. You're trained in this business. You've trained people in this business. Is this influencer mentality of letting people through the door now, of trying to get social media clicks and views, hurting this aspect of the business?
It's hurting a lot because we're giving too many people backstage clearance without them knowing what's going on. And we're just allowing them to ride our coattails, and we're trying to ride theirs. I mean, look, I was brought up, there weren't cameras allowed in the back that weren't part of the company. So I don't care who invited him. They invited him, not him and his cameraman.
Right.
And from the second I saw someone walking up to my locker room with a camera that wasn't part of us,
never happened.
That's when that camera's turned off, and it's either, bruh, you either get in your car and go away, or you sit out there as a fan, because now you're trying to expose what we're doing. The locker room is sanctuary, and I don't care if that locker room is in the back of a building or in the parking lot or in someone's car. That's a locker room. Cameras are not allowed there unless they're part of the company.
That is our safe haven.
That's it. That's the only place that I could be in a wrestling building, and I could be me, and I don't have to answer questions, sign autographs. I can just relax. And the minute you put an outside camera in that, you take away that safe haven. Imagine going in the middle of the Super Bowl and some fan just walks up with a camera as the coach is going over halftime adjustments. That would never happen.
No.
You can take any locker room, any professional setting. It would never happen. So I don't think in our business we should allow it to happen without our control. And if there is a camera backstage, there's an area set aside for it. That's the interview area.
Our mutual friend, Mark Henry, made a comment regarding the situation that a lot of people don't understand, in the sense of, to us as wrestlers, to us as performers, to us as referees, agents, to the ring announcer, anybody who goes out and performs, our locker room is our locker room. There's a reason why there's a door on it, or there's a reason why there's piping and staging. It's to keep people out. And when people that enter in, as Swerve Strickland said, we need to start gatekeeping. That's what that means at the end of the day. No one in the right mind thinks he should have been hit as many times as he was hit.
No. At no point should he have been hit. At no point should he have been assaulted like that. At no point should Raj have been allowed backstage. And we could have avoided everything else if we'd have started with step A. And step A is, don't let someone from outside your company walk in with a camera recording what he's doing.
And I think that's where a lot of what Mark's message got lost was, this is our locker room. This never should have even been a consideration, let alone an issue. And
Yes.
it's a shame that guy
Yes.
went to the hospital because of it. But it's also a shame that it was even allowed the pretense of happening.
Yeah, it once again, there were so many red flags, and it should have been cut off at the pass long before it started. Stu does not need to be recovering right now because there should have been guardrails put in place to not even let the situation get as far as it did.
Do you think this is going to lead to better security?
I think it'll lead to better. It's not even about security because he was invited in. I think it is more about being more selective of who you let in your locker room. And I think the boys will do that. Once again, the greatest gatekeepers of the locker room are the boys.
Yes.
And trust me, those locker rooms are going to go on lockdown now. People aren't going to be allowed in there. Your friends aren't going to be invited to shows. And I don't care what level it is, WWE, AEW, or, 3PWA in Corona, California. It doesn't matter. Locker rooms are going to be taken care of from now on, and you're not going to let civilians walk through your locker room anymore.
Did you see the clip of Rhea being hounded in France, Rhea Ripley?
Yes.
It's starting to get interesting. The fact that we can't let people be people.
And I've and as someone who lives in a fishbowl because of the life I've led, and people say, you sign up for this. Yes, we do sign up for this. We understand we're part of the public. We understand we're in the limelight. But 40 guys following a woman to her car where she can't even get in her car, that's a bit much.
It's a problem.
And as grown individuals, you should understand that's crossing a line. You would not do that to your boss at work. You would not do it to someone you didn't know in the supermarket. You're doing it because it's Rhea Ripley. And still, you need to ask permission to take that photo. You just can't turn your back to her and get up close as you can with your phone. Yes, we sign up for this. Yes, we're in the spotlight. But no, that does not give you the green light to invade my personal space.
Yeah. Speaking of invading personal space, it's football time.
Yes, sir.
And we are about to invade everyone's TVs for the next 18 to 22 weeks, depending upon how long the Chicago Bears make it in the playoffs. So,
yes,
what is D'Lo Brown's Chicago Bears record prediction for this year?
And I have bounced back and forth a lot. I'm a big Ben Johnson guy. I think he's going to be a hella coach. And unpopular take, as much as I want it, I'm not sold on Caleb Williams yet. I'm not. Now, do I want him to be the dude? Yes. But my football brain has a lot of questions. So I chalk up last year to an inept head coach at Eberflus, an inept offensive coordinator, and just an absentee coaching staff. Now I got a dog in there who's going to run a ship like a captain. And now if Caleb doesn't flourish in this environment, Caleb is not going to flourish. So now I am going to sit back and watch. And I will know, because I know what a bad quarterback looks like. I've seen it my whole life. I will know in the first half of the first game what I'm in store for.
Speaking of the first half of the first game, your Monday Night Football prime time home division game against the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, another hyped quarterback coming from the other side. Yes.
So J.J. McCarthy.
Yes, sir.
His NFL debut, coming off his injury. Minnesota's favored by 1.5. D'Lo, did the Bears win?
I will say home dog, Monday night, Bears win. And I say it's more on the defense. The Bears win. I can see just throwing a ton of pressure at JJ and saying, JJ, you beat us. You beat us. And let's see what JJ's decision making is like. So I'd see a ton of for me. I'd send a ton of pressure at him and make him beat me. But I got a Bears win.
Are the Bears making the playoffs this year?
I don't know. That's a big jump. I have us at 8 wins. Yeah.
Okay. 8 and 9?
8 and 9. I mean, we're playing the toughest division in football right now.
Okay.
Three teams from our division made the playoffs last year.
I will.
Go ahead.
Here you go. James Weston. Caleb Williams isn't a bad quarterback. Bears kill QBs.
And I'm not going to argue that. Fundamentally, we've never had that guy who could develop a quarterback. So, I don't know. I mean, we had Jay Cutler, and he still couldn't get us across the board. So,
guys, do you know the last great Bears quarterback?
Other than Sid Luckman, yeah.
No, come on. You had
McMahon relied on Walter Payton.
Okay, all right. Jim Harbaugh.
We've never had a 4,000-yard passer. We've never had a 4,000-yard passer. Every other team in the league has had a 4,000-yard passer.
You're a running team.
Let's go back to the crappy Detroit Lions when they were crappy. They would have 4,000-yard passers.
That's true. Okay, so toughest division in football. You got the Packers, who just got much better. Thank you, Jerry Jones.
Got the best defensive player on the planet.
Thank you, Jerry Jones. This is why it's great to be an Eagles
fan. Thank you, Jera.
I appreciate it. When you look at this season, is it a success if they don't make the playoffs and they finish 8 and 9?
If they finish 8 and 9 and Caleb goes for
3,999 yards.
If he can get 399, I'd be happy. But let's just say if he can get between 3,500 and 4,000 yards, 30 touchdown passes, and single digits in picks, it's a good season.
D'Lo's got a fantasy draft tomorrow. D'Lo, who you shooting for with your first pick?
Good question. I don't know.
Where are you drafting?
I'm 5. So I want to get Jamar Chase with my first pick. I don't think he'll be there.
Are you PPR?
Yes.
No chance.
I don't think he's there.
No chance.
I don't think he's there. So
although
I'm definitely
are you in a league where someone is a fan of other teams? Like, are you across the country fantasy league, or is it local?
We're all across the country. So there's one in California, one in Vegas, one in Virginia, one in Florida. We're all over the country. So it's not like we're all in the same city. And no matter what, I'm going to pick a high-end wide receiver with my first probably 2 picks. And then we'll see how the board falls after that.
Guys, if you are a fan of the Lowdown, you need to be hitting subscribe, like, turn on notifications on podcastseatwrestling.com. If we're doing this again next year, and I hope that we are, I would be up for a little Lowdown fantasy league with some of our listeners. How about you, D'Lo?
You know what? And we should have done the damn thing this year because, I would be down with let's get a 10-team league and you, me, and 8 of our followers out there. We should have got together and put a league together. Hell, it's not too late. You can always start a fantasy league even after week 1.
It's true. And there's also fantasy playoff leagues too. So maybe that's something we can do. We want to hear what team you think is going to do good. We want to know what you want to hear next week on the Lowdown with D'Lo Brown. And I heard there's a rumor that you are at a wrestling show this weekend. Is that correct?
Yes, I will be in Toronto for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, and I'm going to have several sit downs with some individuals high up the food chain in Maple Leaf Pro, and we'll have those questions here next week on the lowdown, similar to what I did at the Hall of Fame.
So D'Lo is going to be shooting some content this weekend at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. Make sure you head over to their website, mlpwrestling.com. You don't want to miss it. Just so everyone knows, D'Lo's social media is about to get an upkick. You're going to see some more, maybe even some more merchandise coming up from Pro Wrestling Tees on D'Lo's website as well. So we're going to be, stay tuned. Give him a follow at D'Lo Brown 75. He is officially on Instagram, D'Lo Brown LFC.
And you can, if you know me, you know what LFC stands for. So I pay homage to Liverpool Football Club in my Insta.
He's got a like one football team that wins. So that's
look, you know what? Everything is not bad in my life. I got one team that actually. Anyway, speaking of teams, what's your team name? What's your fantasy football team name? Because I think I got mine. I got you beat on this one.
So I am actually drafting as we speak during this taping of the lowdown. I've been on auto draft now for, oh my God, 11 rounds. We're still not done yet. I'm in a 12-team, 18-round draft, super flex, 1.5 PPR for tight end premium. But I took with my first pick, because I'm an Eagles fan, the dumbest pick I could have taken. Took a running back. Took Saquon Barkley.
Not a bad pick at all. Not a bad
pick.
pick.
Is going to be a tribe named Saquon.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
D'Lo, what's your favorite name?
Here is my fantasy football team. The name is, and it's part of my fandom, but my team name is Whiskey Ditka's.
D'Lo.
Yes, sir.
D'Lo.
Yes, sir.
You're supposed to be the upright citizen of this combination. And
Whiskey Ditka?
No.
Whiskey Ditka?
Yeah. What's your favorite fantasy football team name? Drop it in the comments below. Hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We'll be back again next week with the lowdown with D'Lo Brown. Coming up this week on podcaststevewrestling.com, we got Nick Patrick tomorrow with a live Q&A. You do not want to miss. Thursday, David Sahide is going to tell the story of real American freestyle. He was at the show, working the show with Eric Bischoff, and what a debut show it was. Tito Ortiz, Jail Sonnen, Holly Holm, and some great action. You do not want to miss it on podcaststevewrestling.com. Up now, 20 questions with the Big Boss Man's daughter, answering some of the greatest questions you've ever heard from Efren. We're going to be coming your way with more content, more stuff. You do not want to miss some of the things we have in store for you here at podcaststevewrestling.com. I'm at Derek Sabato. He's at D'Lo Brown 75, and we're out of time. Go Birds, go Bears, and we'll see you next week right here on the Lowdown with D'Lo Brown.